Hey, gorgeous girls, and welcome to my podcast, Becoming Her. This podcast is all about for the women who want to lose weight and own their mindset for long-term success. And I'm coming at this as someone who has lost over 18 stone in weight and has done this over 4 years and is able to maintain her weight loss. Mindset is the absolute key to long-term success. For me personally, I had weight loss surgery, and I read a stat the other day that over 50% of weight loss surgery patients go on to regain their weight, and that absolutely terrified me. And I just received so many messages of you lovely people on Instagram, and I just thought, let's make a podcast about it and really help people that are struggling with their mindset or regain or even losing weight in the first place to strengthen their mindset and reach their full potential. Like, the future you is literally waiting and it's just around the corner, and together I'm going to give you the tools and you're going to put them into action. And we are going to become her, your future version of yourself that is everything you want. So, on the pod today, I just want to tell you about my story properly, not just as an Instagram highlight, just kind of sit down and share with you how I got to the weight I got to and what steps I actually took to achieve my weight loss. So, growing up, I was always the bigger girl, like all the time. I was bullied really badly in high school about my weight. Like, girls were horrific to me. So yeah, it was not a fun time. And I just grew up in a household, normal household, no family traumas, nothing like that. And I've got like the world's best parents and everything, but my weight was just always an issue. I remember I would like come home from school and like snack on everything, the chocolate bars, like eat 4 bars in one day kind of thing. I always had that kind of binge like mentality, but I never really understood where I had it from. So yeah, growing up, that was kind of life. And then when I was about 18, I remember I went on is it the Cambridge? No, it's Lighter Life. I went on that and I lost like a couple of stone and like everything was like going well. And then I would just come off and I would just eat again. Like, I never worked my actual mindset of it all. And at this point, I met my husband, I got married. And then I went on to have my first child. So obviously my weight fluctuated. At this point, I would say I was about 18 stone as well. My weight was just fluctuating. I then went on to have my second child, and this is where my trauma stemmed from. So I was like always a bigger girl, but when I had my second, that's when the trauma started for me, and that's when I really went into eating. So, for instance, I've got a 13-month-old, I've got a newborn baby, and just before his first birthday, he was like unwell, and I was taking him to hospital. Like, I took this child to A&E like 13 times, and I was completely medically gaslit the whole time. Like, they were like, "Are you okay? Like, nothing is wrong with him." And may I add, at this point, his eye is down his face. Anyway, after 3 months, we went to Great Ormond Street, and they were like, yeah, he might have a brain tumour. Then did a scan, was like, no, he doesn't. He's got this genetic thing. And then I was like, no, he doesn't. And again, medically gaslit. And I was like, my kid has got cancer. Like, I know my child has got cancer. And they were like, no. And then it wasn't until we met this like doctor, like within a couple of days, he was diagnosed. He did have cancer. And yeah, throughout that period, I was just reaching for food so much, as I'm sure you can imagine. Like, that just became my coping mechanism. So by the time he was diagnosed, I probably got myself up to, after having my firstborn and that, I was probably around 24 stone, I would say. And then the next 18 months came along, and these 18 months, I cannot explain to anyone like what it actually is like, because it's so hard to say. But for instance, for 9 weeks, a period over 9 weeks, my son could not leave the hospital room and I refused to leave him. So I couldn't go for a walk. We couldn't walk around the ward. We couldn't do anything. We were literally sitting there. And at this point, he was so unwell that like it was like nearly intensive care kind of vibes. Like he's in a high dependency ward. He's going through a lot. So this is where my eating then spiraled even more, because I was just eating all day long because there was nothing to do. And then from eating all day long and sitting there and just generally just trying to get by in life, that's where my biggest issue got to. And then for a couple of years after that as well, I'd say, like he's amazing, by the way. He's 10 years post-treatment now. And yeah, for a good couple of years after that, I really just ate my emotions. Like hospitals made me it gave me trauma. It petrified me to go into them. Like, as in, I would just eat my emotions. I'd be like, oh, hospital's coming up. And obviously post like a cancer diagnosis and treatment, you're going for checkups regularly. So we were, going up to Great Ormond Street every 3 months or so. And then after a year, it turned 6 monthly. And now we're at the point that we go like every 1 to 2 years. But my relationship has completely changed with hospitals now. I don't like go and get completely anxious. I think as well, because given how far out of this we are, it's obviously a bit easier to process everything and not be so like with it all. But yeah, that's kind of like where my major trauma started with food. And at the end of that, my son was, I think he was about 4 years post-treatment. And no, when was it? It was in 2019. He was diagnosed, right, so he was diagnosed in 2014 he was diagnosed at Christmas. And then in 2019, so what's that, like 4 years? No, yeah, basically like 4 years later, we went to Lapland. That's the point of that bit. And I remember being petrified that I wasn't get on. And at that point, I tipped over 30 stone. And that was like the massive waking call. Like we went for Christmas. Yeah, we went for Christmas. It was just before Christmas. Absolutely lovely. Great thing to do as well with the kids and that. And I remember I was searching all online. Like, are there suits going to fit me? So the company we went with, they provided all the ski wear, and I was like, this ski wear is not going to fit me. And I was absolutely mortified. Like I emailed and I was like, hey, like, have you got a size big enough? At this point, I'm like near enough 31 stone. And I just left it too late. Like, and I had no willpower either. Like I could not have lost the weight. And in the end, I had to buy a ski, like all in one. And I was absolutely mortified because when I got on the plane, I put it in my hand luggage because I was like, imagine if my suitcase gets lost. Like, imagine it. I would literally have nothing to wear. And I feel like that was such a turning point for me. That was like the ultimate low at this point. And then we obviously like went on the holiday, brilliant. But like, I didn't go sleighing with my kids. Like there were certain things that I just did not do because of my weight was just holding me back. Like walking in the snow, like it's a lot. When you're like 31 stone, it's bloody a lot of effort to, even do these daily habits or tasks. So yeah, that was like a massive turning point for me. And I got back from holiday and I was like, right, we are going to hit this. Like, we're going to go to the gym. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Did it work? No, it fucking did not. It did not work at all. And I was just more miserable than ever. And then I did a whole more year, like a whole nother year being as miserable as ever. I was in a place where I had a salon I didn't want. My life was nothing that I wanted. And I know that sounds really weird. Like, oh, you had a salon, you didn't want it. No, like it was it was like just weighing me down. I hate like commitment. Does that sound weird? I'm married, I've got 2 kids, but I hate commitment in sense of that. Lockdown came and that was just, even worse time. To be honest, I didn't weigh myself because no scales could actually weigh me like at home because I was so large. I remember I used to have to like go online and buy like certain scales that allowed my weight limit. Like, how crazy is that? And then from there, I remember the date so specifically, and it was the 10th of April 2021, and I was walking down. So like I said, I had a salon at the time. We had a girl that used to do aesthetics in the salon, and she was absolutely lovely, and then she opened a salon a bit further down, but like I remained friends with her and everything. So I was walking down to Co-op to have buy loads of like shit food because I was crying my eyes out. I was so depressed. Like, this is a normal day, and I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, one more wind and then, I'll go it. Anyway, walking down I saw her and just started crying my eyes out to her. And she was like, babe, go and get a gastric bypass. She was like, go and see Guy at Streamline. He will sort you out. Like, he is the best and he's amazing. Go and see him. And I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And weight loss surgery, like, had crossed my mind a little bit, but also like it's a massive financial commitment. And I was just in the place that I couldn't and before I was just never in a place that I felt like I was ready to commit to something like that. So that evening I went home and I just watched loads of videos about it and, watched people's vlogs, everything like that. And it was 4 years ago. So it was obviously very, people were doing it, but it wasn't really documented as much as what it is now. So what happened, I remember I contacted Streamline and I said, I'd like to book in for a consultation, X, Y, Z. And then I said to my husband, I was like, I'm going to get a gastric bypass. And at this point, he's like, no, we're not doing that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I am. I'm paying for it. I will do it if that's what I want. And then I remember, bearing in mind, I said this to him about 1 o'clock in the morning and woke him up from his sleep to say this. And then the next day, I received an email back from Streamline and I had a consultation booked in for the Tuesday. And then I met Guy on the Tuesday and that just completely transformed my life. And it was, as soon as I met him, I just knew that he was the one. He was just amazing. He understood where I was coming from. He was also, so bearing in mind, I'm paying for this privately. He was like, you could ask your doctor for a referral to see me at the NHS instead. And he was like, but, there is a bit of a wait, but this is something that you could do. And I was like, hell no, I want this done now. I'm ready. I'm doing this. And then 6 weeks later, I had it done. And it completely transformed my life. I would say that my weight loss was amazing. And I'm talking I lost 14 stone in a year, kind of amazing. And then it kicked. Mindset needs to change, especially for the long-term success. So after weight loss surgery, obviously your tummy is very small, but as it goes on, you can eat more. I was so strict the first year, no crisps, no Coke, no chocolate whatsoever. And then them habits started coming back on the second year. And that's when I was like, hell, I've got to work on my mindset here. If I want long-term success, that's where I need to be. At this point, I was taking a bit of Mounjaro as well to help me. And then, I just really double down on my mindset to achieve the ultimate transformation for me. I also at this point didn't feel that I had become the new me at all. I just feel like I escaped the fat version of me, but I feel like she was very much in there still. And that is something that absolutely terrified me. And that's when I was like, I really need to sort this out if I'm going to get long-term success here. Because, you do go on social media and you do see people that have lost amazing amounts of weight. And unfortunately, they do end up back on some of them because they don't work on their mindset and they do feel like, okay, I can't go back and eat this. And I think a part of me was like, I've lost all this weight. Now I'm eating this food again. Wait, am I going to be that person? And that's when I was like, hell no, we're sorting this out. Yeah, that basically rounds up my story as to why I got as large as I did, and then the first couple of years post surgery. And then when I kind of got to the point that was like, okay, I need to sort my mindset out, like this has to. I couldn't find anywhere that actually like offered the help. We see how many people telling us how much protein we should be getting a day. We see the exercise hacks as well. But what we're not seeing is the mindset work we need to do to stop the late night binge of the naughty food that makes us end up putting the weight on. Like, that isn't what we're not seeing. And this podcast is going to be all about helping you guys conquer your mindset after weight loss surgery. Every week, I'm going to be bringing you mindset framework that I literally live by that has led me to 18 stone weight loss success. We're going to be talking about your identity, self-sabotaging yourself, discipline, self-procrastination, and self-love. So if you want a big sister chat to help you conquer your weight loss, then make sure you stick around, because trust me, I honestly wish this was around when I was going through a journey, because I feel like it would have saved me so much time. I've also created a free ebook, and this ebook is all about how to unfuck your weight loss surgery. So I highly recommend it to you. It's completely free. I will leave it in the show notes. So if you're thinking about, okay, I need some help, go down there and grab my ebook, and it's got actionable steps that you can take today to help you. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Just remember, you're not behind, you're not broken, you are becoming her.